This is Jerry Mason, the Kickin Lawyer, and I'm inviting everyone to join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. on the Kickin Lawyer fan page on Facebook for Law Talk Live, where we discuss business, politics, current events, and the law. If you miss the live version, you can watch the playback on YouTube or listen on your favorite podcast platform. All right, it's Jerry Mason, and we're here for another Law Talk. Now, this one is pre-recorded, so I always appreciate you guys' comments, but just remember I can't immediately respond because it's in the past. As always, you can like, follow, and subscribe to our content. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Wherever you want to go, you can find us. LinkedIn even. You can see Josh doing the dances on the TikTok. It's a lot of fun. NA, the band, is a local band. Those guys have an album called Inside My Head. It's available for free. It's on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to music. It would really help those guys out if you would download the album. It's free. Like it and share it. We want to thank Michelle Allen. She's the local Cry-Like realtor, and she's been a longtime sponsor of our show. If you need to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate, she'd be glad to help you, whether it's local or afar. And then Mason's High Octane Martial Arts. I have had that business since 1993, so 30 years in business. And we just opened a second location in Millington, Tennessee. Just visit that's Josh. MasonMartialArts.com, and you can get more information.
You can still go to Mason.
The Cellar Restaurant Prohibition Bar is another one of my businesses. Is located off the square in Covington, and we're opening a second location in Somerville, hopefully the beginning of October. You can visit cellartn.com. Open every day at 4 p.m. Trivia on Tuesdays, live music Friday, Saturdays, lots of fun. And last but not least, if you need any online presence help, your website, brand design, commercials, Masonite marketing, Josh will be glad to help you. Just check him out. So with that said, I'm excited about our guest today because he seems to have a similar passion to me. It's Mr. Martheus Wade. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. I'm good so far. So
Good.
far, so good. It's hot.
Yeah, it is a little warm.
But it's okay.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you taking time to come talk to us.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be here before, and some things came up. I was sick, and I just was not feeling good. My son gave me the stomach bug. So,
oh, no. Well, I would rather you had not been here then.
You don't want to get that. That's not some good stuff, man.
Yeah, so we were just talking about before we started that we have a mutual friend, Sarah and Dylan, and I was talking about how today I saw she posted some photos where she sort of cosplayed a character from one of your comic books.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me tell everybody who you are, what you do, and obviously I'm interested in the comic books. So.
Well, my name is Martheus Wade. I do comic books and illustrations. I worked for Memphis Redbirds for a time. In a couple of different companies around, the Memphis area. But mostly right now, I'm doing my own comic book. I got my own comic book publishing company called Mall Productions. We came out with Shinobi Ninja Princess, which landed at Scholastic for a time. And we do Jetta Tales of the Toshigawa, which is a like an older version of Shinobi Ninja Princess. We're also working, me and my son are working on a book called Iron Ninja 5. It's a manga-inspired book that's coming out hopefully next year. And, I also have my own graphic design company. So for the Redbirds, I did a lot of, graphic design. I did their video boards and their advertising and stuff like that, some brand identity, all of the jersey designs at the time, and things like that. So I kind of took that, during COVID, they closed sports down. So I took that and kind of built my own business. So I do brand identity, graphic design, and advertising for businesses and stuff like that. And I didn't know this. I didn't know you did this, but I also practice martial arts.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about that because all your comic books seem to have a martial art element.
Yeah.
So what system and where you train?
I used to train. I got my second degree black belt under Jeff Mullen.
Okay, I know Jeff real well.
Yeah, Mid-South Karate, and then he left. He's in Vegas.
He was in England for a little while.
Yeah. And then so he left, and now it's pretty much me training. Because I moved away from Shotokan karate, and then started doing more kickboxing and Muay Thai. So I kind of just kind of blend all those together and still just work out on my own. mostly for self-defense.
Well, so we just opened a business in Millington.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, in my second martial arts school locations. I had one here since '93. Now, it was my instructors, and then I bought it in 2000. So I've had it since 2000.
Yeah.
And so we've been real successful. And I did – my base system was Taekwondo, which is similar. Shotokan kicks are very similar. But then I evolved into – I got on the U.S. Taekwondo team and went all over the world. I went to North Korea even doing Taekwondo.
Really?
Yeah,
Cool.
I was like top level you could be doing the Taekwondo. And then I had a wrestler come in when I was like #1 in the world in Taekwondo, but this wrestler comes in and I knew no grappling. And this was like mid-90s before it really triggered to where UFC, Jiu-Jitsu's big.
Right.
Anyway, this wrestler was like, this is back, people would challenge you. So dude comes in like challenging me. I'm like, I'm #1 in the world, man. I ain't worried about you.
Yeah.
I kick and he shot in and took me down.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
Right.
So I started doing jiu-jitsu, and I never trained directly with Jeff, but I trained with people that he had trained with and done. I trained with Chad Chilcutt at one point, a little bit, and then Dave Ferguson the most. Dave's school was very jiu-jitsu heavy, and that's where and I did various other folks. But anyway, I ended up doing some kickboxing fights and some MMA fights, and then did pro fights, and then then sort of focused back on the Taekwondo stuff. But the system that I do is sort of a hybrid. It has elements of, even the form, the kata, have elements of MMA in them. Like there's one where people shoot, you sprawl, you elbow, you knee them. Like it's got it's a mixed bag, and then it also has traditional stuff. So it's anyway. I'd love to have you come in,
man.
And we would honor your belt. I mean, you could come in and Jeff's a legit dude. So if you got a second degree, you just come see what you think.
Yeah, man. I would love to come out there and check it out, man. Because that's one of the things I do miss about Jeff being here is that I always had somebody to bounce things off of. And Jeff was like, he still is. Like I text him every once in a while. He's still really good at, hey, he was kind of upset with me because he was like, oh, you're supposed to, he's at that girl, you're supposed to come out to LA, I mean to Las Vegas and take your third degree test. And I was like, yeah, but that's a trip that I don't have the money for, But yeah, man, I'd love to come out. I'd love to come out and just.
Cool. Well, we can talk about that later. But
yeah.
That's another passion of mine that I'll get to rant about. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I love it, man.
My position on martial arts has shifted too. Used to, I was about all the fighting stuff, but as I'm 44, and so as I've gotten older, it's become more about, can I stand up and my knees not hurt? Am I still mobile?
Right.
I used to be doing the splits and stuff all the time, and I jumped into the splits on the stage over here at the Ruffin Theater in gold Speedos. I'll have to tell you why. But anyway, I did. And I ended up, my foot got hung as I was landing, and I pivoted and shot my leg out, and it tore my hamstring off the bone.
Wow.
So October last year, I tear my hamstring on the left leg off the bone, and then in the rehab, I tore the Achilles tendon on the same leg.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm still sort of rehabbing that stuff. But my point is, that wasn't because of being old. It was a freak accident. But I'm still, I think, in better shape and able to move better because I do martial arts. So.
But it makes you rethink how you got to move and stuff. Because I'm 48, right? Yeah. So like it makes me. I used to take Taekwondo as well when I was younger. Before I met Jeff. So I used to train at what's his Taekwondo University now?
Kim's Academy?
No, it wasn't Kim. It was man, what is the guy's name, man? I can't remember his name now. But he started Taekwondo University. It was like a whole big circuit in Memphis. And I used to, before it was Taekwondo University, it was just his name and I can't remember what it was. But I took it from him. And so I was really limber, and I was used to doing like a lot of jump spin kicks and stuff like that, especially in tournaments. Tournaments at the time, like point tournaments and stuff, jump spin kicks and stuff like that. And then, now it's like, especially after I started doing kickboxing, it was like being a little bit more grounded, not being so aerial and flashy.
Yeah.
And then going into just, especially now where I am now, keeping the wind up, keeping things, limber. Like I broke my foot and stuff like that, and trying to be able to be aware of that injury and stuff and how to train around it, man. It's complete. Getting older, man. I hate it. But
well, there's pluses and minuses. Yeah. I try to find the silver lining.
Yeah. It does make me a little bit more cautious. I will say though that there's a whole bunch of things now that I do and practice that I would never have practiced back then, but now would have been. I should have done it back then. You know what I mean? Just not depending so hard on just arm strength and using your whole body and stuff like that, as opposed, and it doesn't take people like, oh man, it takes you so much more wind to throw your punch and be able to with your body, and it's like, no, it takes more wind to sling your arm out there for no apparent reason and just slap the punch out, so little things like that, man, I do appreciate. You know?
Well, so my taekwondo system, I say taekwondo, it was really like sport karate style, though. We didn't do the Olympic sparring. You didn't? No. I have done it, but it wasn't through the system I was in. Most of what we did is very similar to what you did. It was a sport karate. Yeah. I even competed at a couple of, back in the 90s, Jeff was having a regular like Memphis karate tournament, and I competed in a couple of those. Yeah. But our tournaments, we had a closed circuit, and then you had the open circuit, and ours was point sparring. That's really what you're doing. So I'm very familiar with what you did. But anyway, we can talk about that later. I obviously I'm passionate about it. So my whole brand and everything is all the martial arts. Yeah. But I'm also passionate about comic books. Yeah. So I mentioned that to you. So I assume you are too. Yeah, man. Is that how you got into doing them? Yeah. I was always into anime and manga, Japanese comics and stuff like that. Man, I didn't know when I was little that like Speed Racer and all that kind of stuff, even Voltron and all that kind of stuff was the same. It came from the same genre. I thought that like back in the day when I was little, Voltron, now the animation was different, but I was like, oh, it's still all the kind of the same thing as like Hanna-Barbera and stuff like that. But I just knew that, this type of stuff, the look and feel of it was what I gravitated a little bit more towards, except for, other than the Hanna-Barbera stuff, and that caused me to be able to be like, oh man, I want to do my own stories. So I started writing my own stories when I was really young, and then that broke into finding comics. Like I found comics through that stuff. A lot of people, it's the other way around. Like I really didn't get into like I found like Voltron and stuff like that first, and then I went to I noticed like Teen Titans from that. You know what I mean? I really like Teen Titans. The reason why I like Teen Titans was because of George Perez's artwork, and it mimicked his detailed style, kind of in the way he drew Robin, especially Robin, and in Cyborg. It kind of, to me in my head, mimicked what I saw in anime. So I was kind of like, that's how I kind of got into that, and then I fell in love with comics going that way. George Perez, your favorite artist? Yeah, he's my wife's favorite. Because of his Wonder Woman run.
That Wonder Woman one was so good. Like him, and that was the time they were revamping all of their stuff. And that was really cool. Like they revamped. They started with Man of Steel, and they did Batman, and they did Wonder Woman. That George Perez Wonder Woman run, I used to love it. I collected every issue of that.
Yeah, he passed away. Was it this year? I think it was. It was just this year.
Sucked, man.
Yeah, it does suck. So, my favorite's Alex Ross.
Yeah, man, I love Alex Ross.
But part of the reason was I really liked his, was it Justice, where he had the old Superman? You know what I'm talking about? I'll show you in a minute in my office. I've even got the statue of it.
Oh, really?
But I liked it because I started getting gray-headed the same way, and I was like, okay.
It's a Kingdom Come Superman.
Kingdom Come, that's what it was.
Kingdom Come Superman. I love that story. That story was really good, man. And it spoke to that whole image rise of comics, and people were kind of like, oh, Superman's boring. You know what I mean?
Well, so I've had several comic book people on here, which has been a blessing, and I always have this discussion with them. And you may or may not feel this way about him, but like one of the guys, I had Jeffrey Nodelman on, who was an animator for Batman the Animated Series. So cool. Real big. Yeah, he's got a cool pedigree. He was also one of the animators for Doug. He was the lead animator for Doug. Wow. So anyway, he's a buddy of mine because he also does martial arts. He's an organization. And he says Superman is the most boring superhero. He said he's the most boring because he's just so powerful, And I'm like, that's what makes him interesting. Yeah. Because he doesn't go killing everybody. Right. The restraint. Yeah. But you don't have to comment on Superman. But other than the Titans, who were like your top comic books that you really enjoyed?
Titans. I love Batman. I I did actually get into Superman. I love Wonder Woman. I'm still a DC fan.
Okay,
like,
me too.
Like
I relate with that.
Yeah, my segue into comics on the Marvel side was always X-Men. And it was when John Byrne was on X-Men. So his run of X-Men kind of got me introduced through that world. And then, more so from there, I gravitated towards Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I never really ventured deep into the well until recently. I say recently, to probably college or something like that. With Marvel, I always stayed with the DC. And it's just because, it's because of that first run, man, on that Wonder Woman, Teen Titans run, that early revamp of Superman. Because I did kind of like the pre-crisis Superman.
Yeah.
But I did not. It was something about the stories being so. They used to have a lot of sci-fi stories, a lot of sci-fi stories in Superman. Like he was dealing with Bizarro and Mxyzptlk and all that kind of stuff, and that was cool. But it was really one of those things where it kind of felt a little wacky. A little bit more wacky than the grounded stuff. And then when they came back in with Man of Steel and they kind of grounded Superman in a way that most of his stuff was earthbound, unless something happened that takes him out of space or something like that, or he was introduced, that was like a good jumping on point for me to kind of go forward with that character. So ever since then, I've been a Superman fan. But before then, I was like Batman.
Yeah. So have you ever read like the 50s and 60s Superman?
A little bit, not a lot.
Well,
I
they're
got
real.
some of them.
They're real like kiddish, childish.
Yeah.
And then the focus is Superman, and I felt like post-crisis, it was more a Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He was Clark Kent versus before he's Kal-El, Superman. And that's honestly what, other than the connection with my dad, I was just telling the last ladies that we had here that one of my goals. So here, this is the Covington, right? You live in Memphis?
Yeah.
So Covington has a little town square up here. You probably come around.
Yeah, I came around it, yeah.
So on the square, there used to be a drugstore, and in the 50s, my dad would sit out there and sell pot holders he would make for 10 cents.
Oh, really?
And he would take the 10 cents and go in there on the comic book rack and buy a Superman comic book. So when I was in the 80s coming out of school, I would go in there, same rack, and buy comic books. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So I'm opening another business up here that's a book and record store, and I'm going to put a comic book rack in there so my kids can come buy comic books off of it. But anyway, my point was, in addition to that connection, I was a super nerd as a kid, and I loved the idea of this nerd, Clark Kent, having this hidden power, being powerful. So that was one of the things that I identified with Superman and really liked. Now that I'm a bigger guy and have done all the martial arts stuff, I think people think I'm Superman. Instead, I identify with Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that story. I really think the real story of Superman is the Clark Kent story. Like you have to be able to tell that Clark Kent story, because that's what makes him more human.
What do you think about Henry Cavill or Cavill or however he says it? The switch up.
Man, I will tell you the truth. I think that I hate being on this fence, but I loved Man of Steel when it came out.
Yeah, I did too.
I like Henry Cavill as Superman, and the reason why is because in a modern day Superman, that's kind of who he would be, trying to be able to find his way. He wants to be a human, but he's been bombarded at a late age, not an early age like we're used to, because usually Superman, by the time he's, Clark's age in Man of Steel, he already knows who he is, and he's kind of either hiding it or going on. But in Man of Steel, he really didn't really know until he was like in school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, and today being able to say, hey, and being as a father, being a little bit more protective of his son and stuff like that. So I understood that. But at the same time, I do understand where people do want to be able to see that more optimistic Christopher Reeve Superman. I think that he was getting there at the end of that movie, and that movie was a setup movie, and I was excited to see him go the direction of where he was going. You know what I mean? But I'm sad to know that he never will have that opportunity to be that Superman. Like that, I think that's the thing. It's like, I really, he looked the part, freaking looked like Superman. I was like, wow, that dude looks awesome. When he came back in Superman versus Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, he really looked like Superman. You know what I mean? I do wish that he had the opportunity to be that optimistic Superman that everybody kind of wanted him to be. And, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, so I my favorite's obviously Christopher Reeve. Part of it's probably age, 'cause that's who I grew up with. But one of my favorite iterations is Smallville. The first few seasons of Smallville I thought were awesome.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed Tom Welling playing Superman, but I digress on Superman. So let's talk about your comic book.
Yeah.
So what's your of the ones you have in the line? How many do you have total in the line through the company?
Right now, we have 10 issues of Shinobi Ninja Princess, and we relaunched Jetta Tales of Toshigawa, and we are on issue 5 of that.
And so how do people find you, get them? Like, where would we go for that?
Comic book stores, locally mostly. There are some comic book stores like in Texas and California and some in New York that have our books. Shinobi Ninja Princess is a little bit more... it was a little bit more frequently put out because it was pretty popular. But I know the hardcover.
And I'm sorry, I don't mean.
No,
I'm
that's cool.
just curious how it works.
Yeah.
So did you publish that and then they picked, or was it picked up by one of the?
It was what it was. It was like we were published through Action Lab, and then Scholastic was like, oh, we like that book. You know what I mean? And they picked it up from Action Lab. So it's kind of like it was a co-branded
So when they pick it up, do they then push it out? Or is it like people look at the Diamond catalog and can pre-order it because
they pushed
of that?
it out. It was a completely different book that they were like, we were, it was in the school systems and in the libraries and stuff like that. And
so when you say Scholastic, you mean like book fairs?
Book fairs,
I
yeah.
got you. Okay.
So they went to all of the schools in the
cool.
U.S., or where they have book fairs and stuff, and kids were picking them up from there. And that was where our bulk of Shinobi Ninja Princess readers were kids, and that was what we meant it to be because we wanted it to be like a Saturday morning cartoon type of thing or Saturday morning anime, So what's sort
of the backstory on this Shinobi? It kind of says it in the title.
Shinobi
Ninja
Princess,
Princess,
I mean, it's about this girl. Her name is Shiandria Toshigawa, and she is the prodigal or not prodigal, but she's like the I hate to say chosen one, but she is like the one that is supposed to be like the most powerful out of their clan, right? The Toshigawa Ninja Clan. And she is supposed to lead the clan eventually. She's 14 in Shinobi Ninja Princess. She's supposed to eventually lead the clan against her father, who has kind of taken over Japan. Her father was a former ninja, but he's like super powerful as well. Is it take place now, or is it take futuristic?
Place? Okay,
it's futuristic, but the settings are you may see like mecha in the background or robots or something like that, like to do trash or something like that in the background. But it's all like set in today because I just feel like we should be in Back to the Future land right now. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think
flying cars.
I think our generation is all disappointed.
Right. I'm super disappointed.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, the more I think that design will change. Technology will happen, but we won't be doing those like jetpacks and stuff in the near future. You don't want me to have a jetpack. I'll fly right into the side of a building. You know what I mean? Something like that. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I try to keep it fairly grounded. As far as like the technology, but it is the future.
Okay.
And she will she's supposed to defeat her father, kind of like take back Japan, free it essentially. But the whole point of Shinobi Ninja Princess, the story is that it's following her training journey and the fact that she wants to just kind of hang out with her friends, train with her friends, and, you know, kind of live a normal life. So if those 10 issues about that, then you jump forward in time, and now Shiandria is 20-something in Jetta Tales of Toshigawa, and she's moving to America. So things have gotten way too complicated and tight and hot for her in Japan. Like, it's just too crazy. And the clan elders say, okay, look, you need to continue your training. You're not ready yet, but you can't do it here anymore because you're going to get caught. So you need to go to America. So they, you know, it's 3 of them, Shiandria, her sword sister Tura, and Tura's father, who is their master, Gaudium. And they leave and they move to actually Miami with another section of the Toshigawa clan called the Mawade clan. So they kind of stay there and train and stuff like that. And it's the, you know, her father trying to find her, she's trying to keep away, but also at the same time being in the streets of Miami. You know what happens when you now in America and you've got your own friends. You know, you've got friends that don't understand anything about this ninja stuff, but at the same time you got ninjas that are jumping across, you know, buildings after you and stuff like that. So it's kind of infusing in both the books. It's infusing that manga and anime language, that world, that type of look and feel with American sensibilities, audience, and with the an American setting later on.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, you know, if I get this book and record store open, I wasn't planning on having individual books for sale because I'm just not going to do the whole diamond pre-order things. But it'd be cool to carry some unique books like that in there.
Yeah, man.
Maybe even do a signing. I'd love to. I have a pretty big CGC collection, graded books like keys, and my plan is to have them up for sale, but really more people can come and look at them. Yeah. So I thought that would be cool to have a section that's heavily motivated by comic books. Yeah.
I brought one for you.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll give you mine too. Not that you want it, but I got a copy of it over there.
No, man, I'm always like reading comics and stuff like that, man. This was the one. This is the hardcover. This is the one that's in libraries.
Oh, okay, cool. So this is what was distributed by Scholastic.
Yeah,
I got you.
And then this one is.
This is nice. What is this? What would this cost? Just curious.
That is $20. That like our cost is our selling cost is $20.
Okay.
Now, how much it actually?
Well, you don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
But man, this is very, very good.
Appreciate it, man.
Not that I didn't expect it to be good. Oh, and it's even got good technique.
Oh,
see? Give me mine, Josh, so I can show you. So look, I had a local guy who's a great artist, Josh Anderson, do the art. But when he first, if you look at the pictures, there's a few of me kicking in there. And I was like, look, man, this ain't going to work because it was all jacked up, the technique. So in the places where it's me kicking, he took photos and just and you can tell it's kind of different.
Yeah, right here.
There. The jump front kick one is actually the clear. Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it was way different. And you can even tell it's just my face where he sort of digitized it.
Yeah.
So I always look at that in physical action if they're doing the technique right. So I respect that.
I need to send you, because I'm working on, can I have this?
Yeah, please,
cool.
please.
Oh, you can have this too.
Well, you don't have to give me these. I'm not going to make
No,
you.
you're good.
I don't mind paying for my stuff for you, but I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'll have to get you to sign them.
Yeah, most definitely. I got to send you a fight scene that I'm working on now. It's like, so I broke the panels up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 panels per page, and it's a nine page fight. So it's pretty long.
Yeah.
Like the whole back end of that book is just all fight scene, and it is going in and just seriously, I taking painstaking just shot for shot, trying to be able to make this fight scene work between this version of her of Shiandria, the older version, and 3 other people. So and she's fighting 3 people and she's moving around and stuff. It's really cool. I'll send it to you.
Nice. Yeah, I'd like to see it. I'm always curious about this too. I noticed you've got some Japanese stuff here. Did you have somebody look at the Japanese to see?
I did. I actually did. So,
or do you speak any Japanese?
No, not. just from the karate part of it, you know what I mean, and some of the stuff that I researched.
Yeah.
But I had some people. I had one of my friends who is he speaks it to look at it and just translate.
Yeah.
A
So
couple
I've got.
of things.
So I did more taekwondo, so it's Korean. But on my leg, I have a shin tattoo. That's my kids' names, and man,
cool.
I had multiple people double check that.
Yeah.
Make sure it didn't say stupid American. or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. It just reminded me because you knew Jeff Mullen back in the day. We might have another mutual friend. Did you know Rampage?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he and I actually fought on a card together.
Oh, really?
When it was like 95 or 6. It's before he got big.
Yeah,
This
he was just starting out.
Yeah, this was at the New Daisy. And even then, though, he came out with like a chain.
Yeah.
And we're about the same age. And I was a smaller weight division than him. But I remember saying something about, who's a guy with a chain on?
Yeah.
And then fast forward, he won the title with the UFC.
Yeah.
And Jeff and this representative from the UFC, this was in like, whenever he won, 03 or 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, they came to me because they wanted me to help write the rules that were going to become the law for the state of Tennessee to have legal MMA.
Yeah.
Because I used to do fight shows too. I used to promote them kind of like Jeff. Anyway, so Rampage came and did I met him at a thing we were doing actually in Nashville. We both spoke at the House and Senate subcommittee, and then he came and we were trying to do fundraising. He did a dinner and showed up here in town actually, and we had a dinner with him. He was super cool.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, man.
I brought it up because he speaks Japanese.
Yeah. He used to come out before he left. He used to train with Jeff and stuff, and I sparred with him a few times, which wasn't fun.
Knocked him out.
No, I was like super small at the time, man. But he would come back and forth, especially when he was in town and stuff. And hang out and watch us train and stuff like that and talk. And, man, he was always really cool. But I fought on some of those cards as well at the New Daisy.
Okay. Well, we might have run across each other and not even realized
Probably. Because I fought, but I didn't do it as much as, like, everybody else did. Because I knew that, like some of those guys, they actually went on to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
Like Danny Abadi, he was on.
Yeah, so Danny and I were on the same taekwondo team together.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Danny and I trained together for years.
Okay.
We even went to Korea together one time.
Oh, really? Okay.
I got a really interesting story I'll tell you off the air.
Yeah.
It sounds like a joke because it's me, Danny, who's Islamic, Arab descent, and Tony Franklin was one of my best friends who.
I'm sorry.
It's thought I was talking to it. Anyway, the three of us, Tony Franklin was this black dude that I was buddies with who had beat me for world champion. And the three of us walked into this bar, and it sounds like a joke, but I'll tell you about it. But yeah, no, man, Danny and me were super tight.
Danny, but all those dudes, they knew that they were going to go on to fight. And I knew that mine, where I love martial arts and I love sparring and being competitive. Mine was more for like I want to be able to defend myself, and I knew that I wanted to be an artist. Like you can't you can't cut hairs. You either got to be able to devote all your time to training and going that way, or you devote your time to art. And I knew I was going to eventually have that kind of split.
Well, I always said that because I did fight on those cards, and then I ended up doing some professional fights too. After that, and I was on the fence on the whole. I actually got an offer one time early on to do like a UFC fight, but my fear was I was smart enough to know there are two kinds of guys. You got, in order to be in my opinion, a very successful professional fighter, you have to be smart. Like you have to be smart and have the physical skill, but you got to be super tough.
Yeah, you
got to be, when you get hit, you got to be like the Hulk, and it makes you stronger. I was real smart, and I had good physical skill, but I wasn't tough, man. I didn't like getting hit.
Right.
Like if you hit me and it hurt, I was trying to figure out a way to get out.
Right.
So I just realized that, look, these guys, like some of them like it, and that was that tough element I just didn't really have.
Right.
I won all my fights, but it was because they just didn't have the skill I had.
Right.
But it wasn't. If I'd had a guy who had similar skill and was tough, I'd taken a butt
right.
whooping.
Yeah. Like so. I used to like. I liked having tough fights. We used to have tough. We used to have tough sparring.
Oh yeah,
sessions,
man. Y'all had that back then. Y'all was the team.
Yeah. We had tough sparring
Team Mid-South.
Team Mid-South.
Yeah,
I was more considered like a trainer. Like I wasn't like a part of the team because I didn't go around to do the circuit. So I was like, I was doing graphic design.
You had Matt, the Warhammer.
Hamill, Matt. It was Tony. I forgot what Tony's last name was. Danny was on the team.
I can
Brian
picture
Wells
those guys.
was on the team.
And then several of them did go on to either to Bellator or UFC or whatever.
But yeah, man, I used to like having tough sparring sessions, tough fights and stuff like that because I felt like that I grew. The problem is that, I can't be laid up on Monday morning. You know what I'm saying? I can't be laid up on, for a week after that. You know what I mean? I can't show up talking to a client with a black eye.
Yeah, no. So, see, at the time I was a cop. I had a martial arts school, but I was a cop 12 years. And in my 20s, as I was a cop, I couldn't show up to work beat up.
Right.
So it's a similar thing of which way you going to pick.
Which way
and
you going to go.
I had kids.
Yeah.
So I had to do what was going to feed the family.
Right.
And I couldn't risk I did do the 2 pro fights, honestly, because I needed the money. But, I understand.
They weren't making money back in the day.
Oh, no.
It was not the money today.
So mine, the ones that I did, the way I made money is just like now, I was good at running my mouth to get people in the door. Whether they wanted to see me lose or not, I didn't care. They're buying a ticket. So I was getting a cut of the tickets.
Okay.
And so on the 2 that I did, I think I got paid, the first one, I think I got paid $500 if I won and $300 to show, basically. And then the second one, but I made some on the tickets. The second one was like $800, I think, but I ended up making more because I got more on the tickets on the second one because I had showed on the first one that I generated, people.
Yeah, buzz and money. And stuff.
Yeah. But it's still. Is it worth going and maybe getting your head bashed in?
Right. I remember one time we were sparring. No, I take that back. It was my 2nd degree black belt test, and the end was like a 2-hour sparring session.
Dang.
So, we sparred each other, everybody that was there, and then we sparred like guests. So we sparred like some of the MMA guys that came in, and then we had like a straight grappling session afterwards. I mean, I was so tired and blown out, man, that I missed like 2 days of work afterwards because that was on a Sunday. And Monday I was like, I thought I was going to be fine. And Monday I was like, man, I'm just tired. I'm so tired. So I called in. And Tuesday, I called in half a day. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I went in at the end of the day was because I still had a client meeting. But like, had I had bruises and all that kind of stuff on the client meeting, I would have had to call out then too. And that's guaranteed money talking to the client. So it's like you just had to be able to
and for
figure out.
Most people too, the reality is even if you're elite, there's a small window.
Right.
So you got to have something to do after the fact.
Yeah.
And I hate seeing I followed it for years. I don't watch any other sports. I'm big on kickboxing, MMA. I even watch collegiate wrestling, anything combat sports oriented. I love all of the grappling fights they have now and all that stuff. But anyway, if you look like, say, 15 years ago, some of the guys at the top echelon, and you try to see where they are now, some of them are just doing mundane jobs because they spent their prime years getting punched in the face.
Right, man. And that's like, oh man, you just got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. I didn't have a plan for that. You know what I mean? That's my thing.
Well, sounds like you did well with the plan you had.
I did okay. I'm doing all right.
So are you planning on, because it looks like you've kind of based both of these on the same character. So are you planning on spinoffs in this universe or completely unrelated?
I've got
titles?
I've got some spinoffs in the universe planned. I got both really. Me and my son are working on a book called Iron Ninja 5, and that is, it's kind of in the universe, but it's not. In the Iron Ninja 5 universe is a comic book in their universe. So,
okay, that's cool.
But like that's gonna be like a manga series. He's helping me write it. He came up.
You keep
with
saying your son, which I didn't realize you were. I thought you were younger than me.
Oh no, man!
It's a good compliment. So I was gonna say because you were saying your son, and I was like, was he 8?
No.
And then that makes sense though, because I've got 4. I got a 25-year-old, a 22-year-old, 21-year-old, and a 18-year-old.
Oh really?
Yeah,
See, I got one, and he's 14.
Nice.
But me and him started working on this when he was 10. And his name's Anakin. So
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Is it because of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it.
I used to really be into Star Wars. And
I was too.
Yeah, I used to do some stuff for, some sketch cards and stuff for Lucasfilm and stuff. I was just really into it. But me and
I
Anakin
did
were working
I did
on it.
Jedi Knight seminars. I taught them.
Oh, really?
Fighting
Yeah.
And then I was Jedi Knight Q Loman was my name.
Oh, really?
And I had the outfit and the whole deal.
Cool, man.
I was all about it.
Yeah, I did. We had Star Wars night at the Redbirds, and I was Kylo Ren for the night, so I came out and fought Rocky on the
cool.
the field and stuff, and then we filmed a little part afterwards and stuff like that. It was really cool, man. We had fun, but yeah. So we've been working on on that. It's going to be more manga inspired though, like way manga inspired. Like even the size of it is a manga.
Is it going to be a backwards read?
No, I probably won't go that far.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's going to be left to right. You know.
I got an anime question for you, okay? And I asked this because 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, she's basically my sister-in-law, my wife's brother's girlfriend, who they've been together forever. She's huge anime, manga, whole deal. She got like physically angry at my mother-in-law because she was watching. It was at their house. It was Christmas this one year, and she was watching. Her name's Mary. Mary was watching some anime thing or whatever it was. It's just never been my thing, but it's cool. There's a lot of people into it. So she's watching it. She's all into it. And Gwen, my mother-in-law, goes, "Can we turn the cartoon off and watch something else?" She called it a cartoon.
Yeah.
And, oh man, Mary got angry. It was like, it's not a cartoon. It's anime or whatever it was.
Right.
And then I was even like, I thought it was a cartoon too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that people get the medium. The medium is a cartoon, but the actual the genre of that cartoon is different, and anime is different than the cartoons that she was talking about. And a lot of people associate it because they see the actual animation and they look at it and be like, oh man, yeah, that's for kids. Like people like essentially think that when they see something like that, it's a cartoon, and cartoons are usually means that it's for kids. But most of this anime nowadays is not. Like
there's a lot that I've seen a few that I even like. So I was a He-Man guy, and I even liked the redo with He-Man where it was sort of anime style that they had.
Yeah, it's super serious nowadays. You know what I mean? Attack on Titan. Oh my gosh, you got like Attack on Titan. You got like One Punch Man. You got like even like the things that are out there that are for kids, essentially, like My Hero Academia. It's really not. They deal with some really heavy stuff, you know.
Well, you know, it kind of makes me think of when Batman the Animated Series first came out. If you think about it, even when it came out, I was probably 14 or 15 maybe. But even then, I was like, man, this isn't really a cartoon because he was like an adult.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that led to some of those movies that the animated movies they have that are for adults.
Yeah.
They're for adults.
Yeah.
But it was different, and that was sort of different. It wasn't anime, but it was obviously animated,
right?
But it was just a different style, different genre. I guess.
I love Batman the Animated Series. I love that whole DC animated universe that they created. Batman Animated Series, Justice League, Superman, all that kind of stuff. I love that because it was so tight knit, and they were so smart about the writing. And the style of the animation, I really, really liked. But, to that point, they had that one episode where Batgirl died at the very beginning of the episode. And the whole thing was this nightmarish sequence of the cops coming after Batman and shooting Robin and shooting Nightwing. It was crazy, so.
There was one of the Batman movies that I watched a year or so ago. I forget which one it was. But it's got a sex scene in it. Like, they're on the rooftop.
Yeah. The Killing Joke.
Yeah, maybe that's the one it was.
Yeah, The Killing Joke.
Because was it Catwoman? Was it him, or was it I forget which female it was that he had up there. But it was straight up. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, it was The Killing Joke. They did that same thing in Batman and Quarter Hours too, animated series. So animated movie. was the court? No, it was Batman versus Batman versus Robin. That's what it was.
If you think about it though, again, generationally, if you look at like our parents,
Mm-hmm.
they might have had cartoons, but they were Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
There was a certain style,
Yeah.
and it was clear it was for kids.
Yeah.
And then, but they weren't probably as prevalent. Not everybody had a TV, 50s,
Mm-hmm.
60s. Fast forward, we were raised in a generation where everybody's got a TV. Everybody watched
Yes.
Saturday morning cartoons. You watched cartoons after school.
Yeah.
It was a big part of us growing up.
Right.
And so as we grew up, just like video games still, like I'm 44, I still play Apex Legends, almost every night. And so Kickin Lawyer, just look up Kickin Lawyer, my player name. Anyway.
I play Street Fighter. Street Fighter
Yeah.
6 came out, man. That's, my wife is like, you need to get off it.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, so I have to wait till everybody goes to sleep.
Yeah.
So, because my wife has to watch like, where the guys marrying the multiple women, Sister Wives. She watches that, or the Bigfoot shows. My wife likes all that stuff. But what I was going to say is that we were raised on that, and because it was such a part of our life, it still is.
Mm-hmm.
Even as an adult, it's just the stuff gets a little more adult. But
Right.
you still enjoy it.
Right. It always will be. I think that's. I think I recognize that, you know what I mean, and that's kind of why I don't, Anakin, he wants to be a zoologist, and I'm for that. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those guys that you have to do what I do, but I do want him to have an appreciation for what we accomplished.
Yeah, I think that's great. Well, it's great he's got the talent for it either way.
Yeah.
And you never know, it could always come around.
Yeah.
I got the 4 kids, and I have several businesses, and every business is somehow a passion of mine. And I had always hoped that one or more of them would step up and want to like help take, because what's the point really if I'm not passing it to somebody?
Right.
Why don't you do one business?
Right.
So, so my oldest boy Alex, who's in the Navy right now, he's actually deployed. Just got back from the Pacific Ocean on an deployment. I'm real proud of him. He's great.
Oh,
but
sweet.
He trained in the Taekwondo school and taught for a little while. Even competed for world champion one year. And I think now, and then he went and did his own thing. But I talked to him the other night, and I think he was missing doing that.
Really?
My middle boy Austin actually fought in MMA. He was like
really?
6'7" and did MMA fights.
Oh wow, cool.
And was pretty decent at it. And as he got older, he got into music real big. He's doing great. The band that I promote on here is his band.
Oh, okay.
But he no interest in any. And I had him here as a clerk for a little while. Thought he was going to maybe go to law school. Decided after doing some internship with me, it wasn't for him. So he's out. My point is, like, I get it as a dad. You don't want to push them into it, but you're passionate about it. And I think it's more just sharing that passion with them.
Right. And also, I want to be able to build something. That's why, Mall Productions is here. I want to be able to build something just in case he wants to come back to it. Because he still has, even though he wants to be a zoologist, like, he's still coming up with ideas for stories.
Yeah.
And he's writing his own story now that he's talking to me about and stuff, and he wants me to be a part of as well, So I still want him to be able to have that understanding, that knowledge, and know that if he ever wanted to come back to it, it's always available to him. You know what I mean? So having him be able to work on, Iron Ninja 5 with me has been awesome. Even though sometimes we don't agree on everything. Like I'm also a big Power Rangers fan. It feels really this is kind of like an homage to Power Rangers a little bit, whereas he's more of a strict, like he loves anime. So that me being able to kind of wrestle a little bit of Super Sentai, away from his anime, sometimes is where the argument comes in. But most of the time, like I said, it's been really fun. So, yeah.
Nice. So tell everybody one more time, Martheus, what is there a website they can go to look at the stuff you guys have, or if they want to contact you for graphic design and such?
Yeah. So my store website for my comic books is different from the graphic design stuff. For my graphic design stuff, it's marproductionsllc.com. And there it has, like, it shows our samples, what we've done for other companies and stuff. We've done some stuff for like I said, the Memphis Redbirds. We've done some stuff for the Grizzlies. We've done some stuff for Ampro hair products, the YWCA, the Special Olympics, things like that. And it shows all the corporate things that we're doing there. And then the comic book side is toshigawauniverse.com. And that's where all of our books are. All of our artwork is there. And then like I also do commissions, and sometimes the commissions kind of go between. It depends on what the commission is. Like, you know, if somebody wants a portrait of themselves, then that's probably going to go with mall production stuff. But if somebody wants something like a comic book illustration of Batman or something like that, that's going to go with Toshigawa Universe. So you could pretty much find me on those two sites or on social media for that, you know. And on social media, it's just Martheus Wade. You type in Martheus Wade and you'll find me on any of the platforms. So yeah.
Well, man, I really appreciate you making the trip, Martheus.
Yeah, no
coming
problem,
out.
man.
I
It's
could
been
talk.
fun.
I honestly could probably talk to you for hours,
Dude,
about
man,
it,
we need to do it one
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I'll have to come down there and we go to lunch or something.
Yeah.
I might even commission you because I'll show you in a second. This comic book room I got over here. It's my
Oh,
office.
yeah.
It looks like a 3-year-old's room. So
you gotta see. I'll send you pictures of my office room. My office room has just got it's got He-Man back here. It's got Power Rangers over here. Transformers over here.
I know people come in and they're like, I don't know, but I like it. Yeah. So
Cool,
anyway,
man.
I want to thank Martheus Wade again for being our guest today, and I want to thank you guys for watching us. Don't forget, as always, to like, follow, and subscribe to the content. We're on all social media platforms, all podcast platforms, video format, YouTube, etc. And you can also check us out on TikTok. I always tell people Josh is going to do all the dances over there on the TikTok. Inside My Head is available now. It's the album by N.A. the Band. I was just bragging on my boy Austin, and Noah is his best friend there. And it's not just because he's my kid. You should listen. They're pretty good, but they're local, and please support them. Michelle Allen is a longtime sponsor of the show, and if you're buying, selling, renting, leasing real estate, she'll help you out. She's also a good community leader and give you direction in the area, so please check her out. High Octane Martial Arts, again, we've been open since '93. New location now in Millington, Tennessee. Just visit masonsmartialarts.com. We'll be glad to get you on your road to black belt or kicking people in the face or whatever makes you happy. And then the Cellar Restaurant and Prohibition Bar, I'll be there in just a minute. I got to do trivia every Tuesday night. We have a second location opening in Summerville, Tennessee. It opens every day at 4 o'clock, and then we have brunch on the weekends. We also have live music on Friday and Saturdays. And then last but not least, Masonite Digital Marketing. We'd be glad to help you with your website design, commercials. He's got a drone now. Josh will help you with all that. Just visit masonitemarketing.com. And thank you guys again for watching. We'll be live, hopefully, next week with another Law Talk, and you guys keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.